Namaste everybody, welcome to YogaCandi and welcome to day 5 of our 7-day FeetUp series. Today we're going to be focusing on lower body flexibility, so I hope you guys enjoy. Remember, we have our sun salutation warm-up if you'd like to do that first. I do recommend you do, just to keep your muscles nice and supple, getting you ready for the stretches. But if you want to head straight on into the flow, then continue with me right now. So let's start off in a seated position. Bring the inner soles of your feet together in our butterfly pose. If your legs are lifted, just stay here holding onto your toes and maybe just flap the wings of your butterfly. If you have a little bit more open hips like me, then just start to allow your hips to open up as wide as possible. Sit up tall through the spine to begin. Hold onto your toes and flap the wings as you like. If it's better for you, you can always place your hands behind your back and lean backwards a little bit. This might help if you've got really tight hips. So wherever you are, just enjoy this. We're just going to ease open these hips. Close your eyes. Start to engage with the breath as well. Relax all the muscles in your face. And try to keep your inhales and exhales nice and deep in and out of the nostrils. If you're congested, just breathe out of the mouth, there's no problem. As you inhale, balloon your belly. And as you exhale, draw your belly button back towards your spine. Take one more deep breath. For those of you with very tight hips, just stay where you are. But those of you that are able to go further, start to find a bit of movement with the body, making little round movements just from side to side in a half circle, leaning as far forward as your body allows. Don't push yourself, and if you feel any pain, then just ease back a little bit and maybe take smaller little circles. So listen to your body. With time, you may be able to take bigger and lower circles as you start to open up. Hips can be a real problem area for a lot of people. And this is mostly because a lot of us spend a lot of time sitting on a sofa or at a desk. So don't worry, it's completely normal. With time, they will open for you. And if you have the flexibility, move over towards the right side. Place your left hand on your left knee, your right elbow on your right knee, and just take a little twist, looking up to the sky on the left side, opening up through the hips. For those of you with very tight hips, just stay seated, maybe even take your back against a wall or against your trainer, and just allow your hips to open slowly. Take one more breath on this side. And then just roll over towards the other side, taking the left elbow to the left knee, right hand to the right knee, pushing it open even more, tilting the body towards the sky. Look up, relax your neck, shoulders away from your ears. Couple of breaths here. One more deep breath. And come back to center. Now one more thing, those of you that are just sat there, feel free to continue flapping the wings of your butterfly or maybe play around with leaning forwards and back. But those that have more open hips, see if you can come forward even more. Come down to your elbows. Allow your head to hang heavy. And take 3 breaths here. Keep your spine nice and long, shoulders away from the ears. And one more breath. And push yourself up onto your palms. Bring your knees together. Everybody give your knees a hug towards your chest. Lift your toes off the ground, suck your belly button back, and just feel a little bit of balance there. Release. Let's face our trainers, still on our bums. Take one foot and place it up on the center of your trainer onto the padded part, and just keep this left leg bent on the ground. Start to lean forward. Try not to let your knee lock, so don't let your knee bend backwards too much. If you have very hyper flexibility, then I'd recommend just adding a very slight bend to your knee. Those of you that are very tight in the hips and in the legs, then perhaps just add an extra bend. You can be as bent as needed. Just sit up nice and tall and maybe hold on to the wooden part of the trainer, pulling yourself as close as you possibly can. But if you have the flexibility, maybe grab the back side of your trainer. Point your toes to start with. If you're very flexy, I'd recommend strengthening your knee by hugging your knee up towards your thigh. So you're engaging your knee. You're actually lifting it up towards your thigh. Keep your back as straight as you can. Toes pointed. If you want to add a bit of extra resistance, you can use a hand just to push those toes further down towards the ground. And you'll feel a little bit of an extra stretch down these ligaments here at the front of the foot. You can always rest your head down onto your knee. Try to keep your spine as long as you possibly can. Take one more deep breath here. Come on up, and then now flex your toes. So point your toes back towards you. Everybody do this, even if your knee is bent. And then you're going to feel a little bit more of a stretch behind the knee, down the back of the calf. If you want to add extra resistance, you can sit up tall and pull against the foot. So try to pull your foot as far towards you as possible. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Close your eyes if you'd like to. One more deep breath. And release. Bend that knee, bring it back towards the body and place that leg on the ground. Nice and bent. We're going to do the same with the opposite leg. So you may want to scooch over towards the right a little bit. Placing your heel onto the padded part of your trainer, pointing the toes. Once again, you may find that one side is actually a little looser than the other. This is normal. You may find that if you're right-handed, that your right side's a little bit more loose and your left side may feel a little tighter. And if you're left-handed, vice versa. So point the toes to start with. Remember to keep your leg bent if needed. You can even just place your hands behind you, pushing your chest forward. Trying to get as much resistance without pain as you possibly can. So stretching when you begin, especially when you're quite a tight person, it can take a little while to feel comfortable in a stretch. It can feel quite uncomfortable and you may just need to take a few little breaks, and that's okay. Take breaks when needed. But it should never be painful. If there's ever pain, then I'd recommend pulling back and just being a little bit easier on your body until you're ready. So you can always use this left hand to push the toes down towards the ground. Hold on to the opposite side of the trainer if it's possible for your flexibility. You may want to bring your head down to your knee. Take a few deep breaths here. Spine long, shoulders away from the ears. One more deep breath. And release. Now engage this foot. So you're trying to get your toes to point back towards you. Sit up nice and tall through the spine. If you want that extra resistance, you can hold on to the back of the foot, pulling it closer towards your body. For those of you that aren't very flexible, just have your knee bent and still try to engage that foot. Bend it as much as possible, and if you can always try and grab onto the foot. If that's not possible, just put your hands wherever is possible, maybe behind you, maybe holding onto the wooden part of this trainer. Take 2 more breaths here. And release your foot, bring it back towards you. Now open your legs wider than your trainer. You don't have to go too wide, so just wider than the trainer. You can take them as wide as you like. It's totally up to your flexibility. And start to lean forward. Depending on your flexibility, you may be able to hold at the back of the padded part of your trainer. If you're even more flexible, maybe you want to bring your arms either side of the trainer, holding onto the wooden part, or just allow your head to hang heavy between the trainer, getting a nice stretch on the inner thighs here. If this isn't possible, just keep your legs wide, slightly bent, hands behind your back. So these are the variations depending on your flexibility. And you'll notice the more you do these videos with time, this will all become a lot easier and a lot more comfortable for your body. So keep your toes facing up towards the sky. If you have the flexibility and your legs are really straight, then lift your kneecaps up towards your body, engaging the legs. Let your head hang heavy. If you're not sitting up tall, just allow your head to hang between the trainer. Take a few deep breaths here. Now point your toes and once again take a few deep breaths. And start to bring yourself up nice and slowly. Draw your knees to your chest, hug them up. And now let's find our way into a downward facing dog. Take your hands to the wooden part of the trainer, feet hip distance apart. Keep your spine nice and long, tailbone pointing up towards the sky. Head hangs heavy. And just take a couple of deep breaths in your downward facing dog. Suck your belly up towards your spine. Now look forward, lift your right leg to the sky and step it, hold it up towards your stomach and then step it in between your trainer so it's on the opposite side of that middle wooden bar. Keeping your hands on the trainer, sink your hips low. Make sure that your knee does not exceed your front toes. So your knee should be in line with your ankle or just slightly forward or just slightly back. Hands on the wooden part. Keep your spine nice and long. Shoulders draw back behind you. Your back heel is off of the ground and look straight ahead. You'll feel a stretch here in the psoas on the left side. Oh, my cat's attacking my foot. Hold, oh no. Okay, keep holding that everybody while I sort my cat out. Oi, you. Out the way. All right, take one more deep breath here. If anybody has an animal that attacks them during yoga, let me know in the comments. And now straighten the front leg. Take a step forward with the back foot and maybe with the front foot as well. And now straightening the front leg. If you don't have the flexibility, come up onto the fingertips or maybe even keep the leg slightly bent at the front. Now you want to take the back heel down to the ground this time. So you're going to feel quite a deep stretch in the back calf. And the front leg is nice and straight. If you have the flexibility, and only if you do, then bring your elbows down onto the nice padded part of your trainer, holding onto the back. This is pyramid pose. You're going to keep your hips nice and straight. Both hips are facing forwards. Take one more deep breath wherever you are in this pose. And then bend through the front leg. Inhale your hands to the sky. Look up as your palms touch. And exhale, open up into Warrior Two. Look beyond these right fingertips, keeping the hips nice and open. Back foot is at a 90-degree angle to the back of the mat. Sink down low into the front foot. The front knee. In our Warrior Two. Inhale, lean forward. Exhale, bringing this right hand up and over your ear. And then straighten the front leg. Bringing your hand down to the inner thigh, to the shin, or all the way down to the ground into our triangle pose. Looking up towards these left fingertips. One more deep breath. Back to Warrior Two. Looking beyond the right fingertips. And then hands down to your bar. Step back into plank. Take yourself down to your knees. Take your head into your trainer. We're going to do a couple of inversions before we do the other side. Get yourself nice and comfortable. Watch me first if you're not comfortable just listening to my voice. Keep your neck nice and still. Look straight ahead. Walk your toes as close as you possibly can to your trainer. You can always just stay here. No need to invert at all if you're not ready for it. And then on an inhale, you may lift one leg and you may lift both at once. Totally up to you which one you do. And if you possibly can, very slowly lift your legs up to the sky in a full inversion. Wherever you are and however comfortable you feel, just hold it for one more deep breath. To come out of your headstand, you can take one foot down to the ground or take both at the same time. It's totally up to you. You can slowly make your way to a pike and then bring both feet down to the ground. And then walk your feet back, bring your knees to the floor. And slowly, slowly bring your head out of your trainer. Just take a moment, come up into a seat on your heels. Roll your shoulders back, give your neck a little roll from side to side. And then back to neutral. We're going to do the same on the other side. Take your hands to your trainer, make your way into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows close to the body. Inhale for a back bend, look up to the sky, straightening the arms. And exhale yourself back into your downward facing dog. In your dog, suck your belly button back towards the spine. Feet are hip distance apart. Try to get your armpits to look at each other. So you're trying to pull the shoulder blades apart here. Spine nice and long, tailbone to the sky. Take one more deep breath. Now let's lift this left leg up to the sky and then draw it in towards your belly button, in forward into a plank, step in the middle of your trainer once again. Coming in for this nice lunge. Stretching out the psoas muscle now on the right side. So sink your hips, but not too much. You still want to keep a little bit of engagement in the legs. Hands onto the wooden part of the bar. The back heel should be off the ground. Front knee should not exceed the toes, so you're keeping it in line with your ankle, not much further forward or slightly backwards. Pull your shoulder blades back towards each other. Keep your spine long. Look straight ahead. You can close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths here. If you want to, you can dip a little lower, lifting your chest, getting an extra deep stretch. And now walk your toes slightly forward and jump your back toes a little bit more forward as well, bringing your back heel down to the ground, straightening the front leg if this is accessible to your body. From here, you can stay up lifted on your bar like this, or you can take your elbows down to the padded part of the trainer, holding onto the back of it, pushing that back heel as nice and firmly as you possibly can into the mat. If you can't push the heel down, don't worry, this flexibility will come with time. Maybe your heel's actually still lifted. That's okay, it'll come. Or maybe it never will, but as long as it feels good. So you can hold on to the back part of the trainer. You can allow your head to hang heavy. Take a few deep breaths here. One more deep breath, everybody. Keep your hips nice and even, facing forwards. Come back up to the wooden part of the trainer. Hold on. Step your back foot a little further back, heel off of the ground, and inhale your hands up to the sky, bending into the front knee. The leg should be at a 90-degree angle to the back of the mat in a high lunge. Look up. And open up into Warrior Two, twisting the body over towards the right. Back foot is flat, 90-degree angle to the back of the mat, opening up through this front knee, bending forward and looking beyond the left fingertips. Warrior Two, such a wonderful pose. It can be pretty tough in the beginning. One more deep breath. Now inhale, lean forward. Exhale, bringing this left arm up and over the ear, look up. And then straighten the front leg for our triangle pose. Hand to the inner thigh, the inner shin, or all the way to the ground if you have the flexibility. Right hand up to the sky, look up. One more deep breath here. And then back to Warrior Two. Look straight ahead. Bend into the front leg a little more if you can. Rotate your hands, bring them down to the bar. Step back off of the back heel, lift it up again. And now step back into plank. Hold your plank just for a nice deep breath. Knees down to the ground. Let's do another inversion. So watch me if you need to again, once again. Bring your head into the trainer. Back of the neck to the back of the trainer. Get yourself as comfortable as you possibly can. And then start to make your way into the inversion that you're comfortable with. So whether that be just bringing your knees to the front of the trainer, your feet to the front as far as you possibly can. If you can keep your legs straight, great. If you can't, bend them. If this is enough just to feel this, then stay here.
Maybe you just want to play around with lifting one leg and lifting the other. Or maybe you just want to pop off and take both feet into the sky, maybe into a pike to begin with, keeping your belly button sucked back towards your spine. Legs nice and long out in front of you, and very slowly bring your legs up into a full inversion if you are comfortable with it. Build up to this. If you're not ready, don't worry. Sucking the belly button back. Breathe here. Take a couple more breaths wherever you are, or just play around. And then very slowly bring yourself back to your pike, if you have that in your practice, and then bring your feet down to the ground. From here, walk your feet back, knees down to the floor, bring yourself out of your trainer. Take a moment, sit back onto your heels, roll your shoulders in one direction, and then in the opposite direction. Now roll your neck from side to side, nice and slowly. Take a couple more rolls of the neck. Okay, make your way into a plank. Last part of our flow before we end. So now in a nice strong plank, take yourself down to a chaturanga, bending the arms, keeping them close to the body. Inhale, straighten the arms, look up for a back bend, shoulders draw back together. Exhale, downward facing dog. Give your dog a little walk here. Take 2 nice deep breaths here in your down dog. Bend your legs, come into a comfortable seat. We're just going to stretch out the back of the arms just for a second. So from here, take your right arm across your body and bring your left arm underneath the right, pulling the right arm as close towards you as possible. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Keep your shoulders away from the ears. Consciously try to pull them down. You'll feel an even deeper stretch if you do that. One more deep breath. And then release. Let's take the left arm across the body, using the right to pull it in. Consciously pulling those shoulders away from the ears, down towards the ground. As much as you can, keep this arm across the body as straight as possible. And really try to pull it as close to you as you can. One more deep breath. And release. Give your shoulders a little roll in one direction and in the opposite. Give your spine a little wiggle. I really hope you guys have enjoyed today's class. At the end of this video, there's going to be a link to my Shavasana or to one of my meditations. And guys, I highly recommend you take part in either or, because it's just such a fantastic way to end a yoga flow. And to be honest, I used to think that things like Shavasana or meditation was a little bit of a waste of time, but I promise you, it's so good for stress relief, so good for anxiety. So please do join me. And don't forget, guys, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share this video with other people. All these things are going to help the channel to continue running. So I hope you've enjoyed today, and I really look forward to tomorrow, day 6. Until then, enjoy everybody. Namaste.